Greetings, everyone. It is I, Josh, here to bring you a brand new video. Yes, I am the voice of Worm Hunter. I know everyone has finally established that. I've been live streaming Friday the 13th game, and I've been proudly doing it for the last couple months. And then I get the bad news. I get the bad news that Victor Miller, who wrote only one movie out of the entire film series, is trying to sue to get back his rights to a franchise he never owned. Sean S. Cunningham came up with the title and went out and got investors involved so he could make the movie. Somehow, Victor Miller thinks that he just magically owns the rights to everything that's Friday the 13th related. What about Horror Inc., who was part of Paramount, who produced and distributed all 8 movies? Where were you at, Victor Miller? You only wrote a movie 38 years ago, which will be 38 years ago today or whenever it was released, because I kind of forget when it was released. I think it was, what was it, June 24th? I think I'll have to look through my Making of Friday the 13th, the book. But anyways, a movie that was done 38 years ago, and all of a sudden, after the 2009 remake, you've been trying to sue the film companies for making movies that you did not create. All you did was create characters. That's right. Everyone in the original film you created. But the sequels do not have any of the original characters other than Jason himself, which, by the way, Sean S. Cunningham also said in interviews that he never thought Jason would ever become a character. He thought Jason was dead, but Paramount is the one that approached Sean S. Cunningham, who, by the way, directed the first movie. Yeah, he directed the first movie. You only wrote the first movie. And I don't understand what your problem is, but all of a sudden you're screwing us fans because you think you own something that you totally do not own. You were hired on to write the script. I just don't get this. It'd be like me if I wrote a script and I sold my claim to a studio to make a film, and they greenlighted it, and they paid me the royalties and the money for every time that movie gets sold. I would be content and happy. But if they screwed me, then yes, I would sue them for screwing me out. But if I said, here's the thing, if you make sequels, it doesn't matter. I'm happy that there are sequels for fans, because that's what we are. We are fans. Now, I was born in 1984, so that was when Friday the 13th, the final chapter, was released. I was born in August, but it came out in 1984. If you were just so mad that they kept making Jason films and kept making Friday the 13th films, then you should have said something then. But instead, you didn't say nothing. In fact, Sean S. Cunningham was he was director of the first film. He produced the second one. He produced the third one. Sold his rights to Paramount. Paramount went on and did more sequels. Part 4 was supposed to be the last film. Final chapter. That's funny. It's a joke. Then here comes Part 5, Part 6, Part 7, Part 8. And then Part 9, Part 10. Freddy vs. Jason. And then the remake. And then we get a game. Which, by the way, the original game we got, the NES version, which I told my friend, if he's watching this video, I love you. He says, oh, it's not that hard. But I got lost in the game because the original game was harder. And now we're not going to get new content because of this lawsuit that prevents the game makers, who basically got backed by us, the fans. I'm not one of the original backers, but I wish I was. Because I think a lot of original backers who backed the game, and also because New Line, Paramount, Horror Inc., and Warner Brothers have all gave rights to Gun Media to create content, new characters, new maps, all that stuff, should have a lot of say in it, because basically what you're doing is screwing us all. And even if you got the rights, what are you going to do with it? Nothing. You'll probably have it set for, just sit on a shelf somewhere because you think that's what people want. And Paramount, God bless you, even though the 8th one was the most horrible excuse for a movie. Jason Takes Manhattan. Jason didn't take Manhattan. It was a Love Boat. It was the most false advertising film I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's why they sold the rights to New Line Cinema, which is now owned by Warner Bros. Or Warner Bros. Owned New Line Cinema back in the 90s. And they basically created a movie that, God bless you, New Line Cinema, but having Jason jump bodies was kind of dumb. It was really, really stupid. Not very good. Jason X was pretty decent enough, even though it was in space, and usually you get tired of seeing space movies. But, yeah. And you know what? I don't mean any disrespect to Victor Miller, but you only wrote the first movie, and I don't understand why you're suing for everything that you don't even own. You don't own anything. Your only thing you own, or at least to some extent, is the first movie. But yet you're screwing us fans out of a game, out of a good time, because you can't have anyone else have any fun. I've been a proud fan, a proud supporter of the Friday the 13th franchise. I bought the movies twice. I got an 8-pack, and I watch them. I bought the video game just last year, and, you know, when I heard, oh, we're going to get Uber Jason, that's going to be cool. But suddenly, you're bringing a lawsuit to include the game, because, oh, it's entitled Friday the 13th, the game, but you still haven't won. And the fact is, Sean S. Cunningham has always owned the rights to the series, except when he sold it, and when he got it back in 92, when they made the 9th movie. And he continued to produce the sequels. Where were you at? You were at home. And all of a sudden, you think you own it. I mean, I can't understand this. It's like John Carpenter once tried to sue the producers of Halloween when he wanted to own the rights, which he sold. He sold the rights, or actually, no, he didn't sell the rights, but he was suing the producers and Transys International, which he lost. Even though he wrote and directed the first film. Even though he produced and wrote the second film. Even though he wrote and produced the third film. He still lost. That's just like, for instance, one time a studio actually lost to Steven Spielberg. You know what studio that was? Universal. When he sued them, when they were coming up with Jaws 3, and it was going to be a parody, a spoof, and he sued them, the original producers that were there from day one, and they lost. Universal lost. And then we get Jaws 3 in 3D, which is an okay, decent movie. Then you get Part 4. Oh, guess what? Part 4 is worse. It's like every sequel. You go from good movies to bad movies to sometimes even the most stupidest and horrible worst films. And yet we're still loyal, we're still here, and we still support this. Even when it gets bad. Even when it gets worse. We believe that a good movie's going to come along. Or something good's going to happen. But unfortunately, all of a sudden you decide to sue them. Since 2009, you're suing them to reclaim your rights to a film series you never own. I'm sorry, but that's just wrong. I never own, it's like this. When I buy a video game, I own that game. So I can live stream the game, and as long as I'm not breaking anything or trying to mod things or destroy things or steal things from the game. Because, again, live streaming, if publishers like Ubisoft didn't want me to live stream their game, they could tell me not to. I mean, I'm not breaking any laws. But yeah, when you buy something, you own it. Be like, if all of a sudden they're saying, no, we're going to take back every single copy of every single thing that you own, then there's something wrong. But But I still don't understand this. Why you're doing this? You're just screwing us fans. And it makes me upset that you're doing this to us. We've been loyal to this series from day one. I know, when I started watching the Friday the 13th film series, it was in the 90s, and I was still a kid, and I was still terrified of Jason. It was a pretty scary movie. And now you're trying to hurt us. Why? Okay, this is all the time I got today. I will talk to y'all later. I don't know if I'll be back to live stream any more Friday the 13th the game, or I don't know. I did broadcast for 6 hours yesterday, and I was really tired, so I don't know if I'm going to be back live streaming. I might be playing the game and not live streaming. It depends. I love you guys. I talk to y'all later, and keep your head up. We're all fans here. We love you. We respect you. And, yeah, I don't think Victor Miller should win anything because he just wrote the first movie. Gotta go.